Hey guys, in this video I'm going to break down an article that I recently wrote around automating ticket workflow with AI intent classification. So the purpose of creating this video and this article actually was to just kind of dive into why you would use ChatGPT for your customer support anyway. And I mean, everyone's probably thinking if we can integrate ChatGPT into customer conversations, then we can have faster responses, more consistent responses, and all these things. So from a surface level, it's really easy to see why you would install ChatGPT into your customer support workflow. But I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper to show you some of a bit of strategy behind why you would do it. To give you some more clarity around, all right, there's loads of tools in the market that all do something with AI. Heaps of chatbots, heaps of email responders, and just like there's so much noise out there that how do you really know what's going to benefit your team? And in order to really know what's going to benefit your team, you have to have a strong systems and process approach to this. You really have to know your ticket workflow step by step and then the intricate details of it so that you can effectively execute on an AI solution for your customer support team. So this specific article, this article works with like a specific approach to using AI, which is classifying the intent of the request. So when you first get whenever you get a new ticket into your inbox from a customer and you just have the subject title and then the first message from the customer, your agent essentially has to interpret what that message is, like get the context of the message, and then in their head they can figure out, all right, this is the next step to solve. Maybe it's completing an action, maybe it's just responding to the customer, or whatever it is. But the very first step in any ticket, whether it's with an agent or AI or any method, it's to understand the context so that you can marry up the resolution. And this is what I'm focusing on in this article here. So I speak a little bit about it's important for customer support teams now to have faster responses and be available around the clock, essentially. Just because customers, like people right now have smartphones, the internet is in their hand, social media has taught people that I can just ping anyone at any time and get access to like a company from my hand with a couple of clicks, and they're expecting fast replies. And one way that you can get these fast replies is by integrating AI into your workflow. And that's what I speak about here. And then I kind of dive into, like I said before, the systems and processes. I dive into a basic workflow for your customer support team. So I speak about a ticket solve process, which is a series of steps that your agent must complete, or you must complete with an agent or automation or whatever you have in place in order to solve a ticket. So a new ticket comes in, you have to understand the context of the ticket, then you have to match it up to a resolution, then you respond to the ticket, and then you would solve the ticket. And I break down the different components here. But in this article, we focus on the understand the ticket. And the understand step is like when the agent, I don't know if you guys would do contact reason tagging. So like the topic and then the intent. And then if you guys do this, then you would know the importance of this for reporting. And then if you go upstream, like reporting is downstream of the ticket is solved, you're looking at reporting here. If you actually go upstream with that tagging, if it's tagged accurately in the understand the ticket stage, then you essentially have three key pathways to solve the ticket. The first is that you respond with an FAQ. And this is one of the reasons why you have a support page that has FAQs listed. I use Zendesk, so I can speak about Zendesk here, but if you have the Zendesk support page enabled, then all of your FAQs are essentially prompted to your agent within the agent workspace when they're working on tickets. And they're prompted basically like, hey, this might be useful for you. And then the agent can interact with that little prompt and input key information from the FAQ. So FAQs they're so important. So this is one of the resolution pathways. The second is to complete a task. You might have someone message in saying they want to return an order. And that might mean that you need to go into your Shopify and hit return and then complete the process. And then the final resolution pathway it's like a precursor to completing a task or searching for FAQs. It's requesting more context. Sometimes you get an email from a customer that just says, help me. and you don't really know what to do, so you need more information. So these are three resolution pathways. So the idea is that you want to use AI, or probably more commonly, you'd use ChatGPT. There's a bunch of different language models out there, but ChatGPT is the most popular. You would use ChatGPT to interpret incoming tickets and then to classify them against what the request is. And in some cases, and I speak a bit more about automation later, but in some cases, once it's classified, you can actually then complete automatic steps that will either respond directly to customers. So now this is a resolution without an agent, or that might even prompt to complete certain tasks as well. So you can. The new idea in this section of the article is that you don't just need artificial intelligence. You don't just need AI. Like ChatGPT is a context interpreter. It's not a task completer. Although by interpreting the context, you can then, it's like a precursor to completing a task. So you have to know, all right, what do I need to do? Once you know what you need to do, you'll have a couple of different pathways, and ChatGPT just pings whatever pathway and it initiates it. Like it just triggers the pathway. I'm speaking very high level and very broad here, but I can knuckle down if you guys are interested and to show you some more like show and tell stuff. But yeah, we go through here where I speak about, all right, we had the problem statement at the start where people are expecting faster responses round the clock. In order to adapt to that, we want to leverage AI, and a couple of the ways you can leverage AI is an AI chatbot, and I wrote about that in a different article. So that's 24/7 support there for certain requests. Right now, my model is just for FAQs. It's not doing this or this, but something is better than nothing. The second is intent classifiers for emails. So you're going to have email be a large chunk of your volume for inbound requests, and that's what we want to do here. We want to categorize the ticket. And then we tag the ticket, and then we essentially, issue off certain triggers or macros to solve the ticket. And again, this kind of comes down to like why or how you would use AI. Because if you're just going to go down the route of, I'm just going to choose, there's so many AI options, how do I know what I want? This is how you know what you want, by just thinking a bit more deeply about the process or the system behind your resolutions. Like you have to look at your ticket solve process, the series of steps that your agents take to solve a ticket. So if you do a lot of automation within Zendesk, you probably already have a solid understanding of what your solve process is. But in this part, I speak about, I gave you an example of a tool where this tool just plugs into your Zendesk, and you can set it up so you can teach it in a way how to categorize your tickets. You can give it instructions for that, and then it categorizes your tickets. And then once it's categorized your ticket, you can use Zendesk's or whatever other platform you're using. You can use those tags to initiate triggers. And if you use triggers already, you can you can attach macros to those triggers. So you can actually respond to customers like, hey, we need more context, or hey, here's an FAQ that you might find useful. And even when you're asking for more information, like when you're asking for more context from the customer, that's also very useful, because even though it's not solving the ticket, now your agent doesn't have to interact with with this ticket in order to progress it. It's just gonna, once you have the response from the customer and the agent then they interact with it at that stage, then they're equipped to solve the ticket, so they're not wasting time. So yeah, I give you a way to actually use ChatGPT, one of the tools. I haven't used this tool. I kind of liked it when I checked it out, but I'm not using an off-the-shelf tool. I'm building my own system. But this looked pretty cool. And yes, you would essentially introduce this to your Zendesk or your ticketing system. You'd coach it up on how to categorize your tickets. And then based on your ticket categories, you'd make tags. And based on your tags, you'd make macros and triggers. So this would involve you needing to map out all of your contact reasons. And in this case, the more elaborate, the better. If you only have 5 contact reasons with 5 macros, you're not going to solve a lot of questions that you get from customers. But the more kind of nuanced or intricate you are, yes, it's a massive setup time, but it's a massive opportunity to scale. Once you set it up once, then you can solve that same question hundreds and thousands of times. So you would have to map out all of your contact reasons, and then for each contact reason, you would map out a trigger, or as many as possible, and for each trigger, you'd have a macro. And that's the idea of how you actually leverage AI to automate your tickets. Like, you can see it's only one component. It's just understanding the context, and it's converting the context into an action for putting tags onto the ticket. And the tags, that's where it starts. Like, that's the golden opportunity, having the correct tags on a ticket. And like we spoke about before, after you solve the ticket, you're using those tags to report on how many pre-sale inquiries did I get? How many inquiries about product A did I get? How do I find all of the faulty product requests, or troubleshooting requests, or whatever? So like, that's post-solve, and it's all done with tags. So tags are extremely important here. And we're just going to apply the tags at the understand the ticket stage. So yes, you can use a third-party tool, put the tags on it, and then use your triggers and macros to solve or progress towards a solve for the ticket. And then at the end of the article, I speak about automation tools. So automation tools, this is actually how you complete tasks. ChatGPT will not complete a task for you, like I've said. It'll only obtain the context of the request, and then help you apply a tag to the ticket, and then the tag is what triggers certain workflows. So there's tools like make.com, where it's like a drag and drop, like you're building a website with Wix. It's like a drag and drop interface where it plugs in a bunch of different tools like Shopify, Zendesk, Google Sheets, everything. And you can actually create workflows where, for example, each time an order is created in Shopify, you send the details to a thing called Airtable, which is another one of these tools, but it's like a Google Sheets, for example. You send the details to an Airtable, and you might just send like customer email, customer name, and order ID, and then whatever information you want to be able to call upon. And then during the conversation with the customer, let's say the AI picks up, it's a track my order ticket. It tags the ticket appropriately. There might be a workflow where you obtain the customer's email and order ID so that you can cross-reference against your Airtable, against your this directory. And then once you cross-reference and it's successful, you can just push back the certain information. And in this case, it's a tracking link. And then you can push the tracking link to, let's say, that Zendesk ticket by adding a tag, and then that tag will send off the response to the customer, and that response would include the link. So this is a very high level of how it would work, but you can see you need to have the systematic approach of how you can actually build these things out. And now if you can imagine that you build this out and it takes you 30 minutes, you have to learn from scratch how to do this, it takes you 30 minutes. Now every track my order request, or at least 80% of them, right, let's account for 20%, there's some issues we can't overcome. For 80% of them, you can solve them automatically. So now you're saving continuously 80% of order requests are automated for forever. So you can explore some of these tools as well. This is how you do it by yourself. You won't use third-party tools or apps like Label F, for example. You would just build out the entire system yourself. I like this way better because you have more control over your information. You have more control over the process. And just because if you do it like this, you also learn more about what's possible and what's not possible. So that's why I personally like this. And finally, I kind of wrap things up by saying FAQs are one of the most important things that you can focus on, even before like AI or automation. If you can have a solid support page that has comprehensive FAQs, and maybe you have a chatbot, or you have like the Zendesk chatbot that's active that just searches your knowledge base, that's super powerful. So you want to have really good FAQs because a lot of the time, a lot of the questions would just start from a Google search. And if you can answer it at that stage, then you don't need to focus too much on a lot of these complicated workflows. So the first step would be just make sure your FAQs are solid. Anyway, I hope you liked this breakdown of the article. If you found it interesting, please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments on what else you'd like to see or for me to speak about, then yeah, please let me know.